I'm going to do today. So the first one I'm going to do is I've had a huge delivery this week. Basically, my missing parcels have arrived, and my comics for last week have arrived, and some orders as well. I've unpacked them all, and I've also read the majority of them. So I'm going to give a review of the ones that I've read. Let's start. I'm going to try and be quick because it's really hot today, but I've closed my window and turned off the fan, so the sound can be heard a bit better. So let's get started. Okay, so the first one that I got was Torrent, number 3. This, if you've not been buying it, it's by Mark Guggenheim on the writing and Justin Greenwood on the art. It's just amazing. It's like an interesting take on like the vigilante superheroes, because she wasn't a vigilante superhero to start with. She's just like part of a normal superhero team, and then something happens in life. I don't want to give it away because if you've not read it, it's the linchpin to the plot. Something happens in her life that basically just breaks her because the police won't help because of her being a superhero. And so that's where the story propels from. So she goes from being like your average honourable superhero to there's a trigger effect that makes her become more of like a vigilante one, more like Punisher but with superpowers. Highly recommended. I love the art, very original artwork as you can see with the cover. Just got such energy to it. Yeah, it's one of my favourite superhero comics around at the moment. Highly recommend this. Give this about 8.5 out of 10. And then another Sterling series. My rule now is if a comic dips in quality after about 3 issues of reading it, I'll stop it. So if I'm recommending them, it means I really am enjoying them. So issue 6 of Dark Ride, gorgeous comic, written by Joshua Williamson and artwork by Bressan. I can't remember what his first name is, but yeah, really interesting spin on what would happen basically if Walt Disney and Disneyland instead had a horror theme and Walt Disney was basically made a pact with the devil kind of thing. Really original horror comic, great artwork, really nice cardstock cover. One of Joshua Williamson's best comics I've read. I think I enjoy his indie work more than his DC work, to be honest. So yeah, another one. I give this again 8.5 out of 10. And then the end of the series, I've been singing the praise of this series since it started. Perfect artwork, perfect story. One of the most original takes on vampires I've read in a long time. Like I said, it reads like a bit like a Ray Bradbury kind of fable kind of story. But yeah, so I like how it finishes on number 13. Unlucky for some. $3.99, but extra pages, 32 story pages in this issue. Dustin Nguyen's artwork is stellar in this. It's just black, white and grey with little splashes of red. Bring like shocking events into it. It sounds weird, but for a vampire story, it's very beautiful, and it's got a very satisfactory conclusion. I highly recommend it. If you've not picked up the issues, do get the trade paperbacks or read it digitally because it's just a perfect little comic. It's nothing grandiose or huge or epic in story. It's a nice small story that leaves you feeling satisfied. It finishes really well. And I guess it kind of leaves it open so there can be a second series if he feels inclined to do so. I'd give this 9 out of 10. And then another series that's blowing me away at the moment, Local Man, which basically says it's basically looking at, say, the old school image style of superheroes from the 90s, what would happen to them 30 years from then. So quite a few become washouts, and it incorporates that storyline with a murder mystery. It's by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleecs, who did Stray Dogs. And the good thing about it as well, it's got a flip book on the back of it, which is a 5-page story done in the style of the old Image comics from the early 90s, so very brash and bold. And it's, again, just great. Another interesting spin on superheroes. Image at the moment are knocking it out of the water with some of the stuff, especially the superhero stuff. And then we're swiftly coming to the close of Black Tape. This is issue 3 of number 4. a really good dark mystery with very strong supernatural elements, which I'm sure become unleashed in the final one. Perfect artwork, great storyline. Dan Panosian he's a great artist, but he's a really good writer as well. And I love these cliched heavy rock covers, though I love the other covers as well. But if I stick with one kind of cover, a particular cover, then I'll stick with that all the way through. So unfortunately I had to let the really nice Dan Panosian ones go. But yeah, another great series. Oh, Local Man, I give that again 8.5 out of 10. Black Tape, I give 9 out of 10. Really nice, tidy series. And then an interesting one from Cullen Bunn, who normally is known for horror, and Mike Diodato Jr. And this is Red Zone. This is more like a spy thriller with slight science fiction elements set in Russia. As I mentioned before, though, Mike Diodato likes to cast actors in his comics. So for me, that always throws me out of the story a bit. It's a novel approach, but when he keeps on doing it, I'm kind of like, oh, come on, Mike, just draw some original-looking people. But the story itself is highly enjoyable. I'll give you about 7.5 out of 10. And then, one I didn't think I would pick up, but then when I saw who's writing, I thought, yeah, I'll go for it. And it's Dan Abnett writing Groot. Dan Abnett, as you know, he wrote one of the best runs on Guardians of the Galaxy. He basically reformatted the Guardians of the Galaxy comic to how it is now. So without him, we wouldn't have Groot and that lot as we see them now. And this is a story in Groot's early years with the original Captain Marvel, back when he was a private. And it's great. It's just a nice retro sci-fi story. Dan Abnett's one of the best science fiction writers for comics. If you don't get 2000 AD, check out if you don't get 2000 AD, check out the 2000 AD. Sorry, it's hot. I'm just going to put the fan on. Hopefully, it doesn't interfere too much. Put it down here. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, he's one of the best science fiction comic writers. There's been a lot of collections for 2000 AD that have come out. Brink, I recommend, and Lawless, and there's many others he's done. He's a solid writer, and it's a really good, entertaining story. Only 4 issues. Artwork's okay, but like I said, I bought that more for the story, which I don't suppose I normally like the art to match the story. But the artwork does its job. It's not ugly, it's just average, and the artwork's by Damien Caceros. So I'll give the story 7 out of 10, artwork 5 out of 10. And then we got Guardians of the Galaxy. This is by Lansing and whoever the other guy is. So they do the Captain America stuff as well, and the Star Trek comic. So Guardians of the Galaxy number 2. I got the variant cover, really nice cover. Only thing I hate about Marvel comics, the comics are so flimsy. They should at least with even DC's standard stock comics, at least the covers don't feel flimsy. These always feel like they're going to fall apart in your hands. But the story, yes, I enjoyed the first one more than the second one. To be honest, I haven't got a clue what's going on, but I'm going to give it another issue or two and see if I'll stick around with it. It's not bad, it's just a bit confusing. So 6 out of 10. And then moving on, I've got back into World's Finest after stopping it on the second issue, thinking it's just a retro gimmicky kind of comic, and I was wrong. And I admit when I'm wrong, so there we go. Oh, sorry, my hair's getting really sweaty. Ugh. And yeah, I'm glad I'll come on to that in a bit, but yeah, so I started buying it again, and this is the current storyline with Metamorpho, and there's a murder mystery. The artwork by Dan Mora is amazing. I think every so often you get an artist who impacts the superhero comics in such a way. We had it with John Byrne, George Perez. I would say Arthur Adams, but he was a very slow artist. I mean, once you could churn them out really quickly. So you got George Perez, John Byrne. Oh, I've forgotten his name. The guy who did the reboot of Justice League, Kevin Maguire. And I think people like that who come around and they're consistent, but they don't make shortcuts with the consistency. They've just got talents in abundance, and Dan Mora's one of those. His layouts are so dynamic and impactful, and they blend and mesh perfectly with Mark Waid's superhero writing. It's a perfect superhero comic. What annoys me though, Mark Waid always throws in teams and superheroes and characters you've not thought about for years, and you're thinking, I want to get a comic by them now. Like in this issue, there's a very, very brief cameo by Challenge of the Unknown, and I want to read a Challenges of the Unknown comic now. So yeah, I give this an easy 9 out of 10. And then there's the new Titans. Titans is my favourite superhero team, especially the 80s run by George Perez and Marv Wolfman. That was my superhero comic growing up in the 80s. And I think Tom Taylor and Rachel Scott, I think, is doing the artwork. Australian team. I think they're doing a good job. I've stopped Nightwing now because it increased to $4.99, and the backups I think are shit. Pardon my French, but they are shit. So it just put me off. I'm just going to get it in book form from now on. But this has filled the gap. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. Story's okay, but it's like an intro. It feels like it's half of a comic. I think they could have like chopped the middle bit of this comic out, put the thing that it ends on near the beginning, and then put the second issue in this comic and just made it like a $4.99 extra size first issue. But apart from that, yeah, I'll carry on with it. Tom Taylor doesn't disappoint, and the artwork is beautiful, and it's got the classic Teen Titans lineup, but now they are adults, so it's now Titans. Yeah, it's good. I'd give it about 7.5, 7 out of 10, because like I said, it just felt like a bit of an intro. I felt shortchanged. I feel like there's a lot of padding in it for just a 22-page story, but there we go. But I think it'll get better. And then we've got issue 2 of Doom Patrol. This is from my lost parcel that didn't come, so they sent me a replacement. Fantastic. Love it. I know people rave on Chris Burnham. I like his artwork, but I think he feels rushed in places. Maybe that's just his style, but I don't know. It's a weird blend of mainstream Doom Patrol and Vertigo Doom Patrol, and it makes more sense than Gerard Way's did. Gerard Way's just felt like it was obscure for obscurity's sake. I hope, if it doesn't carry on to be an ongoing, I hope they do some more miniseries of it, because it's a great fun read. This is how the X-Men should be. Doom Patrol's always been cooler than the X-Men. And yeah, I'd give this an 8 out of 10. So yeah, carrying on with that. And then a new Ram V joint, The Vigil, 6-issue series, Spy-Fi. It got very S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of vibes to it. It's kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D. meets Planetary kind of vibes, with an all-Asian cast, which is great. I get so bored when people just think America's the only country in the world, and they just don't focus on any other nationalities. This is refreshing. The artwork's serviceable, but I think it's got room to grow. It's an Indian artist I've not heard of before, Lalit Kumar Sharma. Like I said, he's not bad by any means. He reminds me of it's got kind of like a Tom Grummett kind of feel, if that makes sense. I love the cover, it's very dynamic, but I had to check that, yeah, it's definitely written by Ram V, because it's very light. In some places got his tongue firmly got his tongue in his cheek. It's Ram V letting his hair down, and he's got a lot of hair. Ram V. And he's just having fun with it. He's just doing a fun, pulpy spy thriller with science fiction superhero elements. And yeah, I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10 again. Being a bit stingy with my markings, but because these are new comics, I want to give them room to grow, so I don't want to give them too high marks. And then, as I was saying, I've got back into World's Finest again, so I've kind of done a bit of ordering. So I've got the later issues of the new storyline that's coming, but I've also got, this came through the post, took ages to come, nearly 3 weeks. World's Finest, but got it for a very cheap price. Volume 1, Devil Nezha. Gorgeous, beautiful, really nice presentation. But I can't wait for the other collections, so I'm getting it in floppies for the rest. So I've got issue 6, not read that yet. Issue 7, issue 8, and issue 9, and I've got 10 and 11 to come, hopefully early next week. And there was an offer, if I bought 5 comics I got 25% off, so I just got this as like a filler, Tried reading it. It's shit. I'd give this a 3 out of 10. It's awful. It's pants. Not got a clue what's going on. I gave up after 6 pages. So Batman Legends of Gotham one shot. Pants. Absolute pants. So that's it. My next video, what I might do today, if I get everything sorted, will be looking at the new releases for August, new number ones for August, from DC, Marvel, and a few other companies. Okay, hope you're all having a nice weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Bye.